Hello and welcome back. My name is Tumitladi, and this is the world of programming, my world. Well, don't mind what you see on the screen. This is something I'm currently working on because I'm still busy building this system and I love where it's going. Do you understand? Everything is going very well. So, in our previous video number 6, I showed you my way of a two-in-one project in web environment, right? So this will be video number 7. I'm gonna do caching in .NET Maui or caching in mobile application. So .NET Maui targets both the Android and iOS, right? There's a video about memory cache in web. So I thought, since I've showed you that version of how it works, let me show you on how I went about it on mobile application. Like I said, my name is Tumitladi. I like to share the little bit that made my system work. Do you understand? I may not be working for this huge company where the knowledge is it's expensive and wealthy and all that, but I'm just a one guy, simple guy who likes to share a little bit of what I've learned. Do you understand? If you do have any question, if you want to know something, if you have any concern, if you want a clarity on something, remember to comment on the section below. Just make me aware of what is it that you would like me to explain further. If this is your very first time watching this video or any of my videos, consider subscribing and make sure that you stay tuned for daily videos because I make these short videos showing you randomly on how I build this system. So let's get started. We're going to focus on covered issue underscore mobile. So this is .NET Maui project, right? So what did I use for caching in this project? I used, there's a guy who's very incredible who works for Microsoft, specifically in .NET Maui team, James Montemagno. Yes, Montemagno. Please check that guy out. So he created this project or this solution for us called Monkey Cache. So let me show you firstly, where do you set it up? If you go to your app.xaml, right? There is app.xaml.cs, right? So if you go here, you will see that I am setting up inside the constructor, I am setting up the cache, right? So set up the cache. I like to use the comments. The comments are a guide for me. That's why it's easy for me to maintain whatever I'm building. That's why it's easy for me to show you and teach you. And if you want to have a private tutoring session, I'm available. I like to wake up in the earlier of hours. Do you understand? That's why my brain can function like the best. So if you are an early bird and you want me to do private tutoring, just holler at me. So barrel. So let's go first to dependency. Let's see. Okay. Package. Let's see. Where is it? Where? And these are all the packages that I have. Oh, here it is. So it's called monkeycache.filestore. So I'm using version 2.1.2 beta, right? About packages. If something works for me, I don't have a reason to update it. I am that kind of person because remember the code breaking changes. I'm not a fan of that. I've done this thing now. I have to go and change there and there and there and there. I don't like that. If something works for me, I am okay with that. So now you've seen the package. So you're gonna go and say barrel and then dot application ID, right? So basically I have the app title on the global variables, right? So I just give it the name of the title and just leave it there as application ID. Then dot current dot auto expire, I'm saying yes, it should automatically expire. And then once that happens, it should empty everything inside that barrel. So a barrel, think of a barrel as like a container, right? To store the items that you want to remain in the cache, right? So this is where you set it up. So the next place, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna run the app right now, right? I'm gonna show you the very first page that loads. So let's go to the views. content pages. And by the way, when it comes to .NET Maui, I like to do this. There are content views. Those are completely different than content pages. These are two different things. And I like to group them folder-wise. And then I have a bottom sheet because I make use of a couple of bottom sheets. Even with the current thing that I'm working on right now, I'm going to implement it using bottom sheets. It's going to be just incredible. Did I mention that you can get a copy of this app currently on Google Play Store? Just search it, Cover the Shoe. You will find it there. Or the easiest way, if you go to my website, all right, Cover the Shoe. Give it a couple of seconds to load. I'll come back to it. All right, so let's go to content pages, right? And then let's go to this one. This is where everything starts, right? Setup page, right? But I want to go to code behind because that's where the magic happens. Here, this is where everything starts. But I want to focus on check version updates. I will show you what happens or where this comes from. It's when you click that button that says continue on the very first page that loads when you open the app. So if you go to my website, you just go to mobile app and you just click this link, you get the app. Sounds enough? I'm coming to App Store. I'm still busy finalizing certain things. Right, good. Now, like I said, that's what you call this. But let me show you after checking the connectivity. I'm going to make a video on how I check the connectivity because when you work with .NET Maui, you can also work with the platform specifics. So just know that eventually I call this method, and this method is privately exposed, meaning that it's only accessible in this page. And we should talk about this. I feel like we like to program. I feel like most programmers or most developers, they like to do everything public. No. If you're not going to expose this method outside this class, don't make it public because this is problematic. You know, I've learned something about this global usings. We spoke about global usings. There's a video about global usings. These things are accessible throughout the entire project. So imagine exposing this method and some developer on your team or someone who wants to maintain and they call this somewhere else and they mess things up. So that's why you should hide. It should not be available on the IntelliSense or be accessible. So private static async task, right? So it's very important to do try and catch block. Very, very important. Then I have this version updates model. Remember there's a video about variables. So let's go up to where this guy is. This guy, it's a property, right? Because I do have a model. It's a model. It's not a view model, but I want it as a property. I'm going to make a video about how I go about versioning or rather version updates on this app. Like I did mention in one of the videos that my bank, because it's not a secret, I use Capitec and other banks, but on Capitec specifically, they now have this feature for the app to constantly check for new versions. So I came up with this thing a long time ago, right? So this is a property, as you can see. Now on this property, what I'm doing is I'm gonna go to a custom class called caching. This is a custom, this is what I've created. And it lives inside a folder called utilities. So if we go to utilities, there's a bunch of stuff. One of them is caching, right? So caching, it's a static class accessible throughout the entire project. So what I do have methods. One of them is to get cache. Another one is to set the cache. Another one is to remove the cache. And the final one is to clear the cache. So let me start with the clear. So I'm going to go and say barrel, like a container. Inside that particular container, I want you to empty or remove all the items. There's a use case. That's why there's one reference. There's a use case for this one. Then there's a remove cache. There's also a use case for this one. But this one expects a key. So I'm going to say barrel.current.empty on that specific key, right? Good. Then let's go with setting before we can get. Now, this one, it's very important. This is very important because I don't know what kind of data that I need to pass. Do you understand? I can pass in a Boolean. store something or save something that's of type boolean or a string or integer or even an object itself. So I'm using t, right? And just say data, but it needs first the key and the data, right? The key is always going to be string, never forget that. So the add requires two things: the key and the data, and how long do you want it to expire, right? That's all I need for one day, for 24 hours. Whatever I set in there is going to live for 24 hours. So when I get that data, still I'm passing the key, but when I don't know if it's going to be boolean, if it's going to be integer, it's going to be an object itself. So that's why I gain t. When I return t, right? There we go. So now you see what this class is all about. So let's go back to our friend. So I'm saying caching get cache. So what's going to come back is going to be of type a version update model. Remember that one? It's the same type of this property, but I'm giving it a key. I like to store my keys using global variable because of, look at the number of the instances, 1, 2, 3. Do you understand where I'm using this specific key? So I do not do hard codes. We don't do this. You never do this. Never ever do this. Ever in your life do this. Never ever do this in your life. Never ever ever do this. Ever. Because if you want to say, well, key 1, well then it's going to be out of sync. Right. So that is just a free bonus. So let's look at that key. The key is very simple. Just give it a name. This is going to be cache key, but for what? For version updates, because I have multiple keys, as you can see. Right. So with that key, please go and get the cache and return it as this type of object on this property. If it's null, I want you to do something. I want you to go and speak to the web API. Web API will talk to a database and get data. But if this is not null, which is the else part, else just go to startup, and we will see this when I launch the app. In fact, let's let it warm up. The Net Maui, let it warm up, and run without debugging. Give it a couple of seconds. There we go. Like I said, you can get a copy of this app anytime. All right, so while it's warming up. All right, so it's just gonna go to the next page, which is startup page, right? So this is me navigating, right? Good. But if that it's null, remember the cache can only last for 24 hours. So it's possible because like I'm working on this feature right now of a client, working with the clients, you understand, and exposing their businesses on their app. I constantly add, I constantly fix bugs, I constantly work on the performance and so forth. And by the way, you should know, just for free, having caching in your application is part of performance. Because like I said, with this banking app, it's not really about performance. That thing is checking for updates. But even if there's a new fresh updates, it doesn't let me know as the end user. So it frustrates me. Whereas my app, it takes a different approach. Like when there's a new update, you need to encourage the end user as to why it's important for them to update and explain to them. Do you understand? So if that it's null, this I'm not going to get into right now of what I'm doing, but just know that I'm going to go to the service to get one, and then I'm going to pass in the platform. What platform is this? Is this Android or is this iOS, right? Because this is very important. And whatever I get there, if this guy, it's not null, I'm going to do something further. But if it is null, what exactly am I doing? What happens if this is bad? What happens if really there was nothing I could get and this returns is null? I should come back and find a way. Maybe I should write a message that says we cannot check for new updates. I know I'm doing it right here, but this is when there's an exception. I need to do some changes here. You see, I'm giving you something you need to work on. But if we got something and the web API is alive and everything, Whatever that comes back, I'm gonna save it as part of data. When I say caching, set cache, using the same key, and then this is gonna be the data. When you work with caching and you want to set, make sure it becomes the very first thing that you do, because normally we forget about this. You can't forget about setting and you keep on asking for the cache. What are you asking? You're always gonna get null. So that's the first thing that you do. The very first thing that you do is this. You set, before you do any other work, you set, right? So there's another place where we are using caching where, like I said, I'm not gonna get into this right now, but let's just say that the current version, it's outdated and there's a new version. So this will be the else part. I'll make a video on how this looks like with a real life demo. If you want to know that, please make sure that you leave it down on the comment section and I'll be sure to do that. Remember, I do these videos randomly. I could be moving to something else. Right. So, but here, if there is a new version that's available, obviously I'm gonna navigate the user to version updates page. When I do that, again, the first thing that I do is to remove whatever that may be in the caching, and I'm remove only one. I do not clear the entire cache. Do not clear the entire cache, remove just one. Does it make sense? I'm still waiting for this one to load. It's waiting for pre-launch task. Okay, this is what happens when I launch it for the first time. That's why I'm saying let's warm it up, right? So I want to emphasize this. When you set cache, let it be the first thing that you do. If you have a data to save in the caching. Okay, it seems like it's up now. There we go. So the very first thing when you click this, then this method check updates is gonna be called, right? Check how long it's gonna take. There we go. Because this was quick. Let me tell you why it was quick. Yesterday I was doing the work. In fact, something's off here. What do you think what that is? The time it's out of sync with my time. Number one, it's out of sync. Let me stop. Let me quickly find a way to fix that. Sometimes when you launch the emulator, it does that. So let's go to settings. The time it's out of sync. And let's search date and time. Because when you say it automatically, it does that. You see, it's not the 2nd of December. It's in fact the 6th of December. What on earth happened here? All right. And time 6:03. There we go. For now. Okay. So let me launch it directly from here. Start with the debugging. This time it should be quicker because the pre-launch tasks, they are not needed and necessary. So that was the emphasis. And then like I said, if now there's a new version and I'm navigating to the version update, the first thing I do, I clear. I just make sure that becomes clean and neat. There we go. So there isn't anything in there, right? So even if I stop the app, remove it from memory, launch it again, you see how quick it is. It's not even thinking of going to get one because this is network intensive. It has to move here. It needs to look for my server where the web API is hosted. It needs to talk to the server where the database is, authenticate and come back, say connection has been established, and then say, okay, what is the request? The request will be get one version based on the platform, and then it has to authenticate itself. You understand? It has to return the data, and then it has to deserialize itself, and then it has to come back. That's why I wait, but this now makes life easier. And again, why will I need to remove the cache here? It's because I'm setting it up here in case that this version is the same. It's the same as the new version that I'm checking against. So, but if I have gone to the web API and I save it, I'll set the cache. I'm gonna skip this. Do you understand? And then I'm gonna go straight to uh, the startup. I hope you understand about how the caching works, and I hope this video was very informative. And like I said, I am showing you with the real stuff, as I continue to learn and try to improve. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Remember to like, subscribe, probably share. Do you understand? Because there's more that's coming. Until next time.